Is it wrong to judge others? In what we call the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus gave his followers the best advice ever given and a powerful explanation of life in his kingdom. There's one verse in that sermon that causes many to ask, is it wrong to judge others? That verse happens to be one of the most well-known and frequently quoted verses in all the Bible. It's in Matthew 7:1, and it says, "Judge not, that you be not judged." Unfortunately, it's almost always used completely out of context. It's used to silence any criticism. You have no right to tell me something is right or wrong. Well, it can't mean that. So let's see what Jesus was trying to tell us. We know it can't mean do not ever judge, because the Bible's full of admonitions to judge or discern all sorts of things. About 2 paragraphs later in the same sermon, Jesus says in verse 15, "Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them." That's Matthew 7:15 and 16. How are we supposed to discern between true and false teachers if we're really supposed to never judge anything? There's a whole book in the Bible named Judges. It's about men who were raised up by God to tell people the difference between right and wrong. John 7:24 says, "Do not judge by appearance, but judge with right judgment." So we are clearly to judge, to discern between right and wrong, good and evil, true and false. And we're to do it with right judgment. And there's the end, is the mistake that some folks make. Jesus is not forbidding all judging. He's warning about not judging in a wrong way. Let's read the whole context. We'll begin again at Matthew 7:1. "Judge not, that you be not judged." And then Jesus went on, "For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that's in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that's in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when there's the log in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye." That's Matthew 7, verses 1 through 5. Now, Jesus says there's a wrong way to judge. One wrong way to judge is to judge harshly, hard-hearted, unforgiving, harsher than you would want someone to treat you. That's why he warns, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Then he says it's wrong to judge hypocritically. Don't judge someone about a wrong in their life when you're guilty of bigger wrongs. And here Jesus used a little humor. He pictured a person pointing out a speck in someone's eye when they had a huge log sticking out of their own. Self-righteous judgment is wrong. Humility is required for right judgment. Here's a great summary of Jesus' meaning. Do not judge others until you're prepared to be judged by the same standard. And then, when you exercise judgment toward others, do it with humility. We are supposed to judge between right and wrong, both for ourselves and for others. When we recognize someone doing wrong, something that's harmful to them, the loving action is to point it out, help them do what's good for them. But we can do that in a right way or a wrong way. We are supposed to speak the truth, but never forget this command from the Apostle Paul. Speak the truth in love. Ephesians 4:15. Christ followers do speak the truth. We judge or discern right from wrong, and we may point it out to others, but always lovingly and humbly, never harshly or hypocritically or self-righteously. In our next session, we find Jesus telling us how to ask, seek, and knock, and he will answer. Until then, I'm Steve Tandy for Know Your Bible. To learn more about the Bible or get your questions answered, visit us at knowyourbible.com.